Today's video is going to be about how I clean my Smith & Wesson Shield 9mm, although the caliber doesn't make a difference in the case of cleaning it. Well, in the sense it does, but as far as the process, it doesn't. Things that you would need in order to clean yours is, or I should say the things that I have for cleaning mine, is I have a nylon toothbrush. I also have a nylon bore brush, a polymer pick, and I have a polymer tool here to insert and clean out the barrel with the patches. I have Q-tips. You can use, if you want to use Q-tips, you can definitely use your household Q-tips. I have Hops 9 lubricant oil, and then I have Hops 9 cleaning solvent. Now there's many different kinds of oil and lubricants that you can use. So whatever it is that you like best, that's what you can use. And then obviously you need your firearm. And so let's get right into it. So the gun is already unloaded, no magazine, nothing inserted. So if your firearm is not already in a locking position, you want to lock that back with the Smith & Wesson Shield. You pull your lever down. Now you have a choice here. Before you release the slide, there's a sear disconnect pin in the inside down here that you can pull forward. Or you can just release the slide, and then you can pull the trigger, and then it comes right on off. So now you have your two pieces. You have your frame, and then you have your upper assembly, which consists of your slide, your recoil spring and guide rod, and then your barrel. So those are all the parts that you'll clean for basic cleaning. And basic cleaning means just kind of the surface from after coming from the gun range, shooting a couple hundred rounds. Especially if it's your carry gun. If it's something that you keep in the safe, then maybe you don't clean it all the time because you don't rely on it. But if it is something that you conceal carry, home defense, or anything like that, then you definitely want to make sure that you have that clean. So we'll get right into it. I don't normally do much to the guide rod and spring other than kind of wipe it off. And I do have just a regular rag that I'll wipe that off with. You can use patches to do this as well. You can put a little solvent on there if you want. If you haven't cleaned it in a while, that could be the case of needing to do. And then we just set that to the side. And then for the barrel, I like to dip my barrel brush here into the solvent and just kind of give it a couple strokes in and out down there. Maybe do it a couple times. And that's just really I'm going to let that just sit there. Then what I'll do is I'll take my nylon brush and just kind of coat the outside of it. And I do this first because I want the solvent to kind of just sit on there for a little while I'm cleaning the other parts of the firearm. Just kind of soak in it to break that up. So we'll just set that to the side right now. So I'll continue with dipping the brush. Some people have spray bottles. There's different solvents that you can purchase that already come in spray bottles where you can just kind of spray it on, and you could have just sprayed it right down that barrel. But I just go ahead and use the brush. So all I'm doing here now is just kind of soaking this up here. Just getting all up in there. One thing to keep in mind, if you're going to be cleaning up in this area, I usually put the slide upside down so that I'm not getting any solvent, or at least a lot of solvent up in where the firing pin is. Get inside there where the rail sits. So this is a double-sided brush, so it does have a smaller side as well. And you can see that's a little dirty. And one of the reasons why this one gets a little bit dirtier than normal, and I think I only shot about 100 or so rounds through it today. You know, it has it's the performance model, performance center model, so it has the ported slide and with the ported barrel. So I also clean off the outside of this here. And one may say this is a lot of solvent. Could be. Personal preference. The good, or I should say, the important thing is to make sure that you're cleaning it off real good. All right, so while that's sitting there, then we'll go to the frame. Same thing. Just want to kind of get up in there. It's not that bad, so it doesn't take a whole lot. You should really be able to clean this within about 10 minutes. Alright, so with that, especially with the heavy solvent, I use a regular rag here and kind of clean that all off. So one of the things that you can do with the Q-tips is kind of get down up in little pieces, little areas where your rag or your finger can't fit. Let me see how that's kind of, so you kind of see all the pieces that you miss. Yeah, so anywhere your rag is not going to get. So the other thing that you can do with the pick is, you know, if you're going to be cleaning certain areas, and maybe this frame is not the best part, but if you needed to get up inside of there, it's good to use that pick there and all these little spots. So pick may be more relevant when you're on the slide versus on the frame itself. All right, so that's clean. So we kind of set that off to the side. Now I'll just clean off the slide here. Same thing. Gonna do a very good rub down on the outside of it. And one may say that they don't use these type of rags, but as long as you make sure you're getting off any lint that it's leaving in there, then you should be good to go. So this is kind of where you may want to use a Q-tip as well. Kind of clean off inside here. If you're using household Q-tips, you have the double-sided, so you probably use a little bit less. Now here is kind of right inside the rail there is where you want to use your pick. Make sure you got that all nice and clean. As you see, it got a little bit off there. Alright, so for those, we're all done. Move that to the side. Move that to the side. And then we'll get on to the barrel here. So same thing, just cleaning that off real good. And as you let that solvent kind of sit there, you know, it soaks in and it breaks it all apart. You don't have to do too much of, you know, heavy brushing. You do want to make sure you get inside up there. And feet ramp looks good. So, all right, let's see here. So now what I would do is take we'll take some cleaning patch here. Again, some people use old t-shirts. They'll cut them up. You just want to kind of slide in a couple times. As you can see, that's a little dirty there. You could flip these around and use them twice, but I'm going to go ahead and just keep using a new patch. And you want to do this till it's fairly clean. If you're very, very meticulous, then you're going to do it to you don't see any residue that comes off on it. So we'll do this one more time here. And it's still a little bit coming off, but looks pretty good to me. Alright, so next thing is kind of put it back together and do some oiling, and then we are all done. So let me move that out the way. So putting it back together, we're going to take our slide here and we'll put in our barrel first. So I kind of put it together and kind of do some oiling at the same time. One thing I like to do is put a little oil right down in there. And then we'll insert the guide rod and spring. Alright, so the top assembly is back together. And I like to put just a little oil here. And you can take a patch and just kind of rub that across there. You definitely want to make sure that you're putting oil in any spots that have any type of friction. I put just a little bit on the locking block here, just a little. You can either, put it on your rails here, or you can put some oil on the inside of the slide. I like to do it on the inside of the slide, and just kind of a drop on each side, and drop over there, and drop over there. After you've oiled all your spots, then you go ahead, put your slide back on. And then you want to lock back, push your lever back up, and release your slide. Function test, rack it a few times, pull the trigger. Alright, and then after that, especially if you're not working with any gloves on, you just kind of do one more wipe down on the outside, and you have a clean firearm. Thanks for watching.